It's been a few years since I last did an MMO tier list, but this tier list is not an objective one. This list is based purely on my own preferences and opinions with MMOs, because over the years I've learned that you cannot please everyone. In the past I've experimented with things like having my viewers vote on which tier a game should go in. Wasn't received very well. We've tried scientifically assigning scores to games based on criteria that you may or may not care about, and in the end it's all just very boring and usually just results in the most popular MMOs being placed at the top, regardless of their issues. So let's add some emotion back into this year's tier list. I feel like you'd rather me do that than just use AI to make some kind of scoring system to create something that tries to please everyone but ends up being predictable and boring. I might actually do that towards the end of this video though, out of sheer curiosity. Could be fun. The way we're going to do this is I'm going to be rating these games based on how I feel about them overall. So S tier, overwhelmingly positive, A tier, very positive, B tier, positive, C tier, mixed, D tier, negative, F tier, overwhelmingly negative. Then we have the not played / before my time tier, games that I pretty much missed out on or can't remember playing enough of to rate them. And then we have the upcoming MMOs in the near future tier, basically just a nice visual for you guys to see what games should be coming in 2026 and hopefully rated on next year's tier list. Before we begin, let's talk about the things that I like and dislike about MMOs so you can understand my preferences and bias. I love the feeling of permanent progression and hate feeling like my progress is reset if I stop playing for a few months. I enjoy MMOs with a good mix of both PvP and PvE. I enjoy collection and working towards completionism. I really dislike linear story-driven MSQs in MMOs. I prefer self-contained small stories that give context to the world rather than a focus on main characters. And I don't like my character being the chosen one. I prefer that feeling of being an adventurer in an MMO. I enjoy both tab target and action combat so long as the abilities and movement feel fluid. I can't really say one or the other is better because a good tab target system is better than a bad action combat system, and the same can be said vice versa. I prefer fantasy over sci-fi. I really don't like sci-fi MMOs. I don't know why, it's just a preference. I prefer third-person MMOs where you can see your character. I dislike MMOs with too many dailies where it starts to feel like a job. And when it comes to theme park MMOs versus sandbox MMOs, I like the middle ground, which is known as Sand Park or Curated Sandbox. MMOs that are designed with plenty of curated content, but also a lot of player-driven stuff too. With all that said, let's jump into the tier list. But first, if I was to make a tier list of action RPG co-op games, then today's sponsor Warframe would certainly be in the top tier. So what is Warframe? At its core, Warframe is a free-to-play online action game where you fight across the solar system as a fast, agile space ninja using gunplay, melee, unique abilities, and parkour-like movement. I've covered Warframe several times on this channel, jumped back in for major updates, and over the years it's incredible to see how much this game has grown and evolved to include open worlds, countless new Warframes, weapons and mods, and new features like building and plotting your own starship with your friends. On December 10th, Warframe will launch its next big update, The Old Peace, for free on all platforms. It includes a new cinematic quests, a significant visual overhaul for the Operator and Drifter, and 2 new game modes that look like a lot of fun. Descendia focuses on tight, challenging goal-driven runs, whilst the Petra Rebellion recreates the battlefields of Tau, where you complete objectives in a 12-minute push before the final boss encounter. You'll also meet 3 new proto-frames known as the Devil's Triad. These characters serve as vendors, appear in the expanded Kim relationship system, and are available through new Gemini skins. And of course, the update introduces Uriel, a new Warframe who fights with fire, demon summons, and high mobility. With how quickly games come and go these days, it's always great to see a game like Warframe stand the test of time. If you want to be ready for the Old Peace update, download Warframe for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and even iOS and Android through a closed beta, all with cross-platform play and save. So let's begin. We've got over 100 MMOs to go through here, so I'll try and keep this concise. Neverwinter. For me, that's a solid C tier MMO. Pretty fun game at times, but not something that I would play. Foxhole. Never played Foxhole. I tried to play it before, and I think I got distracted during the tutorial, so no comment on this one. Astelia Online. It's a solid D tier one for me. It's not the worst MMO I've played, but certainly not very memorable. Didn't really enjoy my time with it. Gloria Victus, this one actually shut down, but it's coming back. I think the developers sold the rights to some publisher, and I think overall I feel mixed about this game. It has some good things, it has some bad things. From memory, I enjoyed the large open world, the crafting, and it being like a realistic medieval MMO. World of Warcraft Classic, that's going in the A tier, purely because out of every MMO on this list, I feel like this has the most memorable leveling experience, where it feels like the game is about the journey rather than the destination, and that's what I love about WoW Classic. Not many MMOs have been able to replicate that feeling. Easy A tier for me. World of Warcraft Retail, I wouldn't say I feel very positive about it because the game's only as big as the latest content update. However, it does have some of the best tab targeting in the MMO genre. It's like so polished and like it feels super responsive to play. I do like that they're adding the player housing update, so I'm excited to revisit the game for that. I'm gonna say positive overall. Mabinogi, I've heard it's like an anime RuneScape, but I've never played it. Sword of Justice Global, this one released recently. I think it's like mixed reviews on Steam, but I haven't had the chance to play it yet. This next one is World of Warcraft private servers. I'm using the Turtle WoW icon. I'm going to put this as positive overall because some of these private servers are offering like a Classic Plus experience, which I think is really cool. I wish I could cover it more on the channel, but I don't want to get in trouble with Blizzard. Don't want to get sued, obviously. Worm Online, Sandbox MMORPG, another one that I haven't played. The Secret World, I'm going to put this in mixed because for its time, this game had really good questing and storytelling and also tried to do things a little bit differently. Things I like about it, things I dislike about it, mixed overall. Blue Protocol Star Resonance, played this one fairly recently. I'm going to say mixed overall. I like the combat in this game and I like the anime graphics, but the game's just kind of quite limited in scope for me, like quite a small world, heavily instanced. Lots of daily stuff. Let's find one for the F tier. Probably League of Angels. That's probably rank 1 worst MMO that I've ever played. Made a video on it a few years ago. Absolutely hilarious. Core Punk. I'm going to put this as mixed. I need to revisit Core Punk. The last time I played it, there were some things I liked, some things I disliked, but it's had a lot of updates since then. Let's hope it's better. Albion Online, I'd say I feel positive about this game overall. Solid B tier, pretty fun game to revisit every now and again, but not something I play regularly in my spare time. RuneScape 3, despite its issues, I also lean positive with this game because I just love the whole RuneScape skill system, and RuneScape 3 questing is really good. Wakfu, another MMO that I've never played, and Dofus. Both of these are French MMOs, never played them, but I've had a lot of people ask me to cover Dofus because apparently it had a big update and they modernized the game, so maybe I'll try out Dofus in 2026. Aeon 2, we're going to put that as upcoming MMOs in 2026. The game is currently available to play in Taiwan, however, I haven't gotten around to playing it just yet as of making this video. Embers Adrift, I like what they were trying to do with this game by making like a pure co-op MMO, but the combat's really bad, so definitely a negative. Night Online, very popular Turkish MMO, but I've never played it. Runes of Magic, this is the WoW clone that everyone would play if they couldn't afford the World of Warcraft subscription back in the day. Good memories with this one, so I'll put it in C tier. Guild Wars 2, it kind of ticks all of the boxes for things that I like in an MMO. It's got a mix of both PvP and PvE content. I specifically love the world versus world. I love that I can take a break from the game and return to it at any point. The business model's not too bad. It's just got something for everyone. Probably the best horizontal progression MMO, and it also pioneered the hybrid combat system where it like mixed action and tab. Yeah, Guild Wars 2 is definitely like solid A tier, very positive. The thing I love about Guild Wars 2 is it's such an easy MMO to return to, and I hope they take a similar approach to design with Guild Wars 3. I pray it doesn't get cancelled. Elder Scrolls Online, I'm not a huge Elder Scrolls fan, but overall I would say that I lean positive with this game. Nice mix of PvP and PvE, combat feels relatively fun. I have to put Terra in positive, even though it's shut down now. Kind of pioneered action combat for the MMO genre, so I'm going to put Terra in B. Arcade, this MMO is actually shut down now, however you can still play it on the Arc Rage private server. Overall, I'm going to put Arcade in positive because of the impact it had with it pioneering naval content in the MMO genre. Definitely the best naval content anyone has ever made. And I think Ashes of Creation is taking heavy inspiration from that, which is why I'm also putting Ashes of Creation in B tier. Overall, I feel positive about Ashes of Creation. This game's coming to Steam in like 1 week as of making this video. Arguably coming to Steam a little bit early. Probably way too early. Probably going to get review bombs, but I like the combat in Ashes of Creation. I like what they're going for in terms of design. The game's just not finished yet. But when it does get finished, I'm hoping this could move up to A tier or even S tier. But for now, in its current state, I'm going to say overall, I lean positive with Ashes of Creation as well. Drakantos 2D MMO with a charming pixel art style. The last time I played it, I had mixed first impressions from memory, but I think it has been improved since then. Dungeons & Dragons Online, always an MMO that I've enjoyed revisiting over the years. I really like the dungeons in this one and the puzzles and stuff, but it's a bit old now, so I think C tier is fair. Throne and Liberty, I'm going to have to put this in positive because I was really impressed by the scale of the massively multiplayer aspect in this game. The world was absolutely stunning and had some really cool features like the giant floating sky whale and things like that. Game definitely has a lot of problems and things I don't like about it, but overall I'd say lean positive. Aeon I'm going to put in C tier. I don't mind revisiting this game. I played Aeon Classic not too long ago. Quite a nice game, but a bit old now. The Quinfall, I'm going to put that as D tier. It's got a lot of features and it's a super ambitious MMO for like such a small dev team, but I think it has some issues with like anti-cheat and game integrity. So I wouldn't really want to invest any time into it. Raiders, one of the first action combat MMOs. Pretty good combat, still holds up relatively well today, basically Terror before Terror. Solid C tier. Where Winds Meet, I've been playing the crap out of this game recently. Overall, I feel positive about this game, but if we was to judge it purely on the multiplayer elements, I'm going to say, yeah, positive overall. Revelation Online, that's going to be a negative for me. Combat wasn't too bad, but it was a very forgettable, boring experience. Ethereal Echoes of Yore, played this earlier this year. I'm going to put this as mixed overall. Aposia, spiritual successor to Tibia. I had a positive experience with this one the last time I played it. Very nice, charming indie MMO, Aposia. Looking forward to the full release. Tree of Savior. It's been a long time since I played this one, so I might be remembering it wrong, but I remember liking the art style and finding it quite charming. Heavily inspired by Ragnarok Online from what I can remember. Lineage 2. I have played Lineage 2, but I don't feel like I've played enough to have an opinion on the game. I can't really remember my time with it either. Same with Lineage 1. I've never played Lineage 1, even though massively successful game in Korea. So that's going in the never played tier. As is Nin Online. I discovered this game recently when looking up indie MMOs. Nin Online looks really fun. People were very positive about this game, but I haven't gotten around to playing it yet. Lost Ark, I'm going to say positive overall, purely because the combat system is arguably best in genre when it comes to top-down MMOs. I was absolutely obsessed with Lost Ark when it first came out, but I stopped playing because it started to feel like a job with the daily stuff. Maybe they've changed that, so I want to revisit Lost Ark in 2026. Old School RuneScape, straight in the S tier. This is my main MMO. I've put over 120 days of playtime into this in the last year and a half. If you was to ask me what MMO is still going to be here going strong 10 years from now, Old School RuneScape would be my first answer. The game's just designed in a way that you can play it as a forever MMO. You're just never going to run out of things to do. Ragnarok Online 1, another classic MMO that I've never played, even though it has a lot of cultural significance. Massively popular in countries like the Philippines. And that leads me to Ragnarok Online 3, which is an upcoming MMO in 2026. So I'm going to play Ragnarok Online 1 next year, before Ragnarok 3 comes out, just so I have some reference. Wildstar. Rest in peace, Wildstar. This one left us way too early, but if Wildstar was still around today, and if there was a private server for it, I'd put it in B tier. I feel positive about Wildstar overall. EVE Online, massively successful sci-fi sandbox MMO, a game that has so many legendary stories that have come out of it. For me though, I'm going to put it as mixed because I don't really like sci-fi games and I don't like games where you just play as a vehicle. I respect EVE Online, it's just not for me. Dragon's Dogma Online. This is an MMO that I cannot believe never came to the West or had a global release, because this was really fun. I remember playing it many years ago, like the private server, and you can still play it to this day. Just baffled why they never brought it to the West, but I remember having a positive experience with it. Project Gorgon, I remember having mixed first impressions of this game. I think it had really bad graphics, but it had quite a lot of good RPG and old school MMO design. I'm just going to put that in mixed from memory. Lord of the Rings Online, I'd say I feel positive about this game overall. I love the Lord of the Rings IP. Yeah, good classic MMO. Bless Unleashed. I'm gonna say negative. It's not League of Angels tier, but it's definitely D tier. Hordes.io. This is a browser MMO that you can literally boot up in like 5 seconds and be in the game. I remember having a good amount of fun with this a few years ago. I'll put it as mixed. Metin 2, I'm going to say negative. I didn't really enjoy my time with this one. Vindictus, I'm going to put this as mixed. The MMO elements are quite limited, but the combat in this game is fantastic. This is a sad one, New World. Getting shut down at the end of 2026. I would have been tempted to maybe put it in A tier. It was one of my favorite MMOs. I'm going to put it in, like, it would be like a high B tier. I absolutely loved the crafting and gathering in this game, as well as the world and the visuals. Yeah, AGS did you dirty, New World. Let's hope that Chrono Odyssey can fill the New World void in 2026. If I was to rate Chrono Odyssey based on what I played for the beta earlier this year, I'd put it as mixed, but thankfully the devs are taking all the player feedback and doing a massive overhaul, so we'll put Chrono Odyssey as upcoming MMO 2026. I think Chrono Odyssey has the potential to have better combat than what New World had. Another one upcoming in 2026, Arcade Chronicles. I don't think it's going to be as massively multiplayer as the original Arcade, so I have tempered expectations for this one. Regardless, it's one I'm definitely going to play. Warborn Above Ashes, I did not like this MMO. I tried to make a video on this for the full release. It was too boring that I cancelled the full release video. Just don't like this game. You just run around trying to find a fight. Can't really think of a reason to play Warborn over Dota 2, to be honest. Terraceland, negative overall. If you was to rate Terraceland based purely on being like a cross-platform mobile PC MMO, as a mobile MMO, it'd probably be like a B tier if it was on a mobile MMO list, but for a PC MMO, definitely negative, and I think it's been shut down or shutting down soon. Echo of Soul, I played this a few times, definitely one for the F tier, not very good. Ship of Heroes, recently released, barely playable. I can't believe it even made it on Steam. Definitely an F tier MMO. Mortal Online 2, hardcore sandbox MMO, I'm going to say I feel mixed towards this game. I quite enjoyed some aspects of it when I covered it last year, but since changing to a subscription model, I'm not sure it has enough players playing the game to support such a massive world.
Meanwhile...
Oh my god, my throat is cooked. There's so many MMOs that I'm losing my voice. Final Fantasy XIV. A lot of tier lists are going to be putting this in S tier and A tier, but for me personally, it's not really for me. I like a lot of things about the game, like the business model and the end game raiding, which seems pretty good. But I'd rather play WoW over Final Fantasy XIV personally. But I feel positive about the game overall, I'd say. Just it's not really for me. PAX Day. I played this recently, and as far as building goes, it's probably got the best building in the MMO genre, and it has absolutely gorgeous graphics. I actually did continue to play this game after my first impressions because I find it quite relaxing to just like gather and stuff, but there's not really a whole lot to do in this game. I would say that I lean positive with PAX Day overall, and I hope that the game improves with future updates. GTA Online, I've had a lot of fun with this one in the past. Not an MMORPG, but as far as online games go, GTA Online positive. Red Dead Online, I loved Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm also going to put that as positive, but if you want to ignore that in the tier list, then you can. Star Trek Online, I did not like the combat in this game, and I don't really like sci-fi. I'm going to put that in D tier. Trove, I'm going to put in D tier. Continent of the Ninth, another D tier MMO. I think the combat was okay for its time, but it's pay to win and repetitive. EverQuest 2, another D tier. Wasn't a fan of EverQuest 2. I actually think EverQuest 1 has much more cultural relevance and is probably more popular. So EverQuest 1 I'm going to put as like never played / before my time. I have tried it. However, I haven't played enough of it. But people still play EverQuest Project 1999 today. So that leads me to believe that EverQuest 1 is probably better than EverQuest 2. I think that a lot of people would probably agree with that. That's my vibe from not really playing much EverQuest. Age of Conan, I'm going to put in C tier. Nice classic MMO. I always have a good time revisiting this one. Blade and Soul Neo, I'm going to put it as mixed because the combat in this game is really good. I don't really like the instanced world, and I don't like the real money cash shop, but the combat's fun. Shroud of the Avatar, the combat sucks, so that's going in D. Life is Feudal MMO. I cannot think of a single reason to play this game, to be honest. I think the combat I remember the combat being horrendous, and I remember being bored to tears trying to play this one. F tier. Stars Reach, upcoming MMO 2026 by Ralph Costa. Looking forward to that one. Ultima Online, I tried this for the first time only a few months ago. I played UO Outlands, and I actually found it to be strangely addictive. It was tickling the RuneScape player in me, so I'd say that I had a positive experience with Ultima Online. After trying it myself, I can understand why people play it in 2025. Scars of Honor, another upcoming MMO for 2026. This one's heavily inspired by World of Warcraft. Skyforge, I've always hated Skyforge. Revisited it multiple times over the years, never had a good time with it. Star Citizen, I still have not gotten around to trying Star Citizen, even though it's been playable in alpha for many years. Maybe 2026 is finally the year that I do a first impressions on Star Citizen. Guild Wars 1, I'm going to say positive. I played it a few years ago and I remember enjoying my time with it. And recently Guild Wars 1 Reforged has popped up on Steam, which is like a remastered version of the game. So that could be worth checking out soon. City of Heroes, I never played this back in the day. It got shut down, but now there's a officially licensed private server for it called City of Heroes Homecoming. Might be worth checking out, but never played it before. Maple Story, positive overall. As far as 2D side-scroller MMOs go, I find the combat to be quite fun. Like grinding the mobs, the classes are interesting, it's charming. It's left a big mark on the MMO genre. Halia, cozy MMO where you just do like life skills and gathering, build a house. Very good MMO to play for couples, and I had a good time with this when it released last year. I'm going to put it as positive overall. Mortal Online 1, I've never played that one. Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, I did a first impressions on this about a year ago, and I think my overall thoughts leaned positive. From memory, I quite enjoyed the sense of exploration and progression. Anvil Empires, upcoming MMO 2025, made by the same developers as Foxhole, so I'd imagine that this is also going to be quite a successful one. Rise Online, dog MMO, modern take on Knight Online, very bad game from what I remember, F tier. Bellatorus, another upcoming MMO in 2026, as is Monsters and Memories. A lot of people are very excited for this one. Seems like a true EverQuest spiritual successor. Bitcraft Online, I'm going to say negative for this one because the combat was horrendous. Basically just go out in the world and build a settlement with other players and like do a lot of AFK stuff. Didn't really enjoy my time with this one. Hopefully it gets better with updates. PSO2 New Genesis, another one, kind of negative, bit of a boring game. I remember not enjoying it too much. Star Wars The Old Republic, probably the best theme park sci-fi MMO. Fairly solid combat, a good mix of PvP and PvE, good player housing. For me personally, I'm not a huge sci-fi fan, and I'm not super invested in Star Wars, but I'd say I feel positive about it overall. Brighter Shores, I'm going to say negative, made by the creator of RuneScape. However, I cannot think of a single reason to play Brighter Shores over RuneScape 3 or old school RuneScape, so I just don't really see what purpose this game serves. Rift is definitely a C tier MMO for me. Riders of Icarus, we're going to put in D tier. It's not as bad as the games in F tier, but probably not good enough to be in C either. Fellowship, not really a true MMO, but for what it's trying to be, which is a WoW Mythic Plus style experience, I think it achieves that. I think the game successfully does what it sets out to do, and I had a decent amount of fun with it when I played it last time. Blade and Soul 2, F tier. I hate that the sequel to Blade and Soul was a bloody mobile autoplay game that they tried to say is like a PC cross-platform. Not really, it's basically a pure mobile game that you can just play on PC. Star Wars Galaxies, a lot of people have fond memories with this one, but I've never played it. You can still play it with private servers though. Black Desert Online, I'm gonna have to put that definitely in positive. The combat of BDO is the best action combat in the MMO genre to this day, in my opinion. And I played the crap out of BDO from 2016 to 2018. Basically ruined my life. Always a fun game to revisit. Definitely has a lot of problems, but a lot of fond memories of BDO. Positive overall, I'd say. Inferna, basically a modern take on Metin 2. I'm going to say negative. DC Universe Online, I'm not a huge fan of superhero MMOs, but the combat was pretty fun from what I remember. I'll put that in C tier. Allods Online, WoW clone, popular in Russia, D tier. Velarine, a new indie voxel MMO. Looks pretty cool. I want to try this one. I discovered this on my indie MMOs video, And the same can be said for K-Tram, a 2D RuneScape-inspired game, which a lot of people were saying good things about. Both of these I haven't played yet, but I would like to. And finally, Dark Age of Camelot. I have played this game, however I haven't played it enough to give a proper opinion on it. I never got to do the mass-scale PvP, which is what the game's all about, so I'm also going to put that in never played as well. As you can see, I haven't ordered these games within the tiers yet, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time organising them in order of which one I would rather play over the other within each tier. So I've vaguely organised these games within the tiers now based on the order of which I would rather play them, but honestly that could change based on my mood, like how I'm feeling on the day. But one thing's for certain, I feel overwhelmingly positive about OSRS, very positive about these two, positive about all these games, mixed on all these games, negative on these ones, and very negative on these ones. So if you look at the tier list like that, then it's pretty much it, I'd say. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned it could be interesting to see how the AI would try and objectively rank all of these MMOs. So let's try and do that out of pure curiosity. For the AI tier list, I asked ChatGPT how it thought it should approach this in an objective way, and it decided to come up with a weighted scoring system that measured different MMO aspects like combat, content progression, player population, and monetization fairness. Obviously, with ChatGPT being fairly useless, it forgot like 8 of the games I told it to rank, but after a quick reminder, we got the final list. So after telling the AI to make an objective tier list using a scoring system out of 100, this is the results. Maybe you agree more with AI than you agree with the my tier list. You have to let me know in the comments, but AI put Final Fantasy XIV as number 1, Guild Wars 2 as number 2, OSRS as number 3. I feel like a lot of people would probably agree with that. EVE Online is number 4 though. Okay, that's an interesting one. The further you go down this list though, the more baffling some of these get, but that's what AI thinks. AI tier list versus Peon tier list, which one's it going to be? I feel like a few of you might pick the AI one over mine, because I am very particular in my tastes. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope none of you take it too seriously. These videos are usually crazy in the comments, people going nuts, but it's just a bit of fun that I like to do at the end of the year. And yeah, let me know what you would change about my tier list, or maybe if you agree with me in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I hope you all had a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.